Pleasant afternoon to you. Just want to share with you briefly on the subject that God holds leaders to a higher standard than the rest of the congregation or the rest of the nation for that matter. But since we're dealing with the church, the example that I have is found in Exodus chapter 24, verses 1 and onward. In that passage, we discover that God invited Moses and 70 elders, along with Aaron and two of his sons, Nadab and Abihu. And later on, in spite of the great privilege they had, they offered strange fire before God, and they were also intoxicated by wine. And you know the story. They did not survive. They were actually grilled or fried or died, to put it bluntly, on the altar. And Aaron could not cry nor mourn his sons because they should have known better. Even with Moses, God did not tolerate or accept his behavior when he told him to speak to the rock. You know the story, he struck the rock. And as a result of that, he did not make it to the earthly Canaan. But God in his gracious, according to the book of Jude, when Satan rather contended with the body of Moses and God raised him up, he appeared to Jesus in Matthew 17 along with Elijah. Moses is a representative of those who will die and raise or on the first resurrection, and Elijah is a representative of those who will not see death but will be translated alive to meet the Lord in the air. But the point I'm making is the fact that leaders have a greater responsibility than the rest of the congregation. God holds them at a higher standard than the rest of the congregation. You see, for Moses, he did not make it to the earthly Canaan, but God raised him up. For me, I have no earthly Canaan. This is one shot. This is very sober lesson for me, so that by God's grace, I pray that God will keep me. You see, for to whom, according to Luke chapter 2, verse 48, to whom much is given, much is required. You see, the church, as my professor, the late Dr. K.G. Vaz would say, the church expects more from its leaders. The church cannot rise higher than its leadership. You see, leadership gives the cue and sets the tone. The spiritual temperature of a local congregation is measured by the spiritual temperature of its local leaders, its local leadership. What is the emphasis of the leader? Is it the spirituality of the members? Is it the economy? Is it business, enterprises? Is it construction, evangelism? All of these emphasis have their right place and function and timing. But the one which is higher in the mind of the leader, you will hear it coming out every time he or she stands to speak. You will get the cue as to where the church is leading. So my prayer is that we will focus, we will seek to prioritize. Is it the second coming? Is it prophecy? Is it spiritual growth? All of these things are part of the makeup and the growth and development of a local congregation. But the leader sets the tone by the emphasis that he actually carries forward. So my prayer is that leadership that God has given great responsibility, we should seek to know what is the Lord's will, not only for our family, the local congregation that we are responsible for, whether it's at the conference level, as an administrator, departmental director, or at the various echelon of the organizational ladder. At each level, the leader sets the tone. And by the way, our children, our family have responsibilities, because Aaron's sons, they were PKs, as we would say today, pastors' kids. My prayer is that all my colleagues, all my fellow pastors, we will seek to understand what God is saying to us. I truly pray for my brothers and sisters, because the reality is we have some female pastors within the movement, within the organization, and they fulfill certain leadership role, and they need our prayers and our support as well. I will leave it at that. I'm not gonna get into the other dynamics, but the point I'm making is that God holds us to a higher standard. Let us humble ourselves before the Lord, asking Him to guide us, to lead us, so that we will truly represent Him, and the people will come to this understanding, this knowledge, that indeed God is leading us, and they will be ready to follow as we provide leadership under the real leader, who is the Lord Jesus Christ Himself. Let's be encouraged. Let's hold each other up on the wings of prayer and encourage each other, not tearing down, but let's build up each other, because we are co-laborers with the Lord Jesus Christ. If one of my colleagues fails, then I also fail. But let us stir up the gift that God has given to us, recognizing the enormity, the great calls, not only to walk with Him, but to be of service to Him and our fellow men. God bless. Let's keep each other up in prayer. God bless.